Hey everybody, I'm Z Garcia, and today I'm taking a look at an expansion to Arkham Horror, the card game. This is Return to the Night of the Zealot. This is a unique product when it comes to Arkham Horror, the card game, and that's because this is two that have not been done before. First, it's a storage box for the card game, and secondly, this is the first product that revisits a previous scenario and changes it up a bit. In this case, the Night of the Zealot, which was the one included in the base game, okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and give you a look at what comes in here. I'm not going to show you too many of the cards. I want to avoid spoilers, but I'll show you some of the contents in the box. Then we'll come on up back here, and I will tell you what I think of this product. So here's what you're getting with Return to Night of the Zealot. You are going to get the box here, the storage box, and the inside of it looks like this. And you are getting here just a placeholder for that you can remove and store cards in here. But all you are getting in this box as far as cards go is that much of it, okay? So be aware, it's actually very few cards that come in here. Now in here you're also going to have some dividers. So this section here is just dividers with the titles across the top of everything in the base game, except player cards, of course, just the sets for the different scenarios. And then a few new player cards. I'll show you these in 1 second. And then these would be for the 3 scenarios in the original game and how they are modified. There's a few cards in here to modify those, to give you new locations, new monsters to fight against, things like that. I'll try not to dive into this too much because I want to avoid spoilers. So, I'll mostly describe what's going on in here as opposed to actually show you. I will show you these, however. Besides all that, of course, you are going to get a rulebook leaflet as well, just explaining how to modify the game and how to use the contents of this box here. The box includes 2 brand new encounter sets designed to replace 2 of the encounter sets in the original game when described in the rulebook. And they'll have different feels, usually designed, of course, as is most everything in the box, to ramp up the difficulty of the introductory scenarios. So for example, this one here, it's going to focus largely on attacking your hand. A lot of these are going to destroy the cards you are holding. It'll force you to discard. So this is going to target that. And then you have a few new cards here as well. Okay, so I'll just show you a couple of these just so you see what you might be getting. All right. All the player cards included in this box are variations of cards already seen in the base game, simply powered up ones. So sometimes they'll be cheaper, sometimes they'll give you slightly better effects. And you will get 2 of each, but that is everything you are finding in here. There are technically no brand new cards to be found in the ones included in the box, and you can use these as you would any other card in the game. You can, as you are playing through a campaign, spend the experience points you've gathered to upgrade or simply put into play some of these slightly better cards. So that is everything you are getting. As far as player cards go, that's all of them. So let's take a slightly closer look at the first scenario here, the Gathering. So this card here, you'll have 1 for each of the 3 scenarios. It will tell you how to modify the original setup. In this case, you also get a new Act 1 card that will replace the one in the base game. You have a few cards that get shuffled into the deck and might show up and ruin your day, so to speak. And then you've got new locations. So most of what you're getting for this one is new locations. Some of them are the same that you already know. So you've got an attic, you've got a cellar, and you'll simply shuffle the 2 together and have one show up in the game. So you cannot anymore guarantee that the cellar you've known from previous games is the one you are getting. That's one way this kicks up replayability. But also, there are new locations in here as well. Your house is basically grown and you are now exploring different parts of it. So you could have, for example, the bedroom is now a new room and you've got a guest hall, you've got a hole in the wall, a bathroom. There are also a couple of mystical locations like far above your house or deep below your house. So these might or might not show up again, but they simply increase the locations you can visit and the replayability of the scenario because you're never quite sure what you are walking into. So that's basically it for what comes in the box. Again, I don't want to go through too many of these or show you the opposite side of these to avoid spoilers. So let's just go back up top and let me tell you not just what's in the box, but how it feels and changes the original game. So there you go. Let me talk about this a little bit. I'm not going to use my usual target audience system. It doesn't really seem to work very well for this. So I'm just going to tell you some things I like, some things I don't like, and just sort of, tell you who I think this might be for, in my opinion. So things I like, okay? I like that the chapters now, the scenarios, might have a different feel within them. So for example, again, the original one, The Gathering, now it seems like the game, the setting, makes a concerted effort to attack your hand of cards. And so that might ask of you to build a player deck that protects that hand of cards. Maybe you're drawing more cards. Maybe you have a higher stat so you can combat those checks that the game makes on you. So that's interesting, and so it'll give you a slightly different feel from when you first played that scenario. I like that. Something else I really like, and this is probably my favorite thing from what's included here, is that you can now no longer count on a location being what it originally was, right? So if you go to the cellar, let's say, once you had played this once or twice, you knew what the opposite side of the cellar was. You could count on that. You could prepare for that. You can no longer do that for most locations in the game, because you're going to have multiples. You shuffle, say, 2 of them, and then you pick one without looking at the other side. So you can no longer guarantee that you walking into a specific location will be what you expected. That's great. That's going to add freshness to the game. And it's something we've seen in many of the expansions to Arkham Horror, the card game. That you would, shuffle up a couple of locations and then only put one in play. This sort of retroactively adds that idea to the original, setting. And there was some of that in there already, but now it feels much more fleshed out. I like that. A couple of other things, and this one's sort of, up to you if this is a positive or a negative. The product you are getting here, assuming you choose to buy this, is largely a storage box, okay? This is most of what you're paying for, I would assume. This box here, in which you can remove this thing and then have a big cardboard box in which to keep your cards. This is not going to store everything that's been released, so it won't really work for that. And if you store just the contents of the original game, there's also some room left over. So it's a strange size. I'm not sure, where the decision came in to make it exactly this size. But anyway, the price tag largely goes, I would assume, to getting a storage box. If you already have a storage solution because you've been into the game, the value here is not great for you. You're going to get 46 cards, story cards, and then 20 player cards. That's it. That's what you're getting. If you are someone who is a casual player of the game, you probably are better served by simply buying the expansions that give you entirely new content, brand new player cards, and brand new story arcs, as opposed to revisiting one that you already are familiar with, right? Again, this is for someone who is not invested, getting everything as it comes out. So that one, again, you can sort of decide if that's a positive for you or not. Do you really like the storage box idea? Or, are you someone who'd rather just buy new content with what this costs and enjoy brand new content, not modified content? So a couple of things I don't like. Well, let me say one more thing I thought was, again, you can sort of take it or leave it at your discretion. Difficulty spike is certainly in this. The game will be more difficult. If you enjoy the difficulty in the game, if you're hoping that the original Night of the Zealot is a little bit tougher, then yes, this will give you that, okay? Couple of things that I wish were in here and we don't get. There are no new story developments. So while the inside of a scenario, the play of it is different. There's no new booklet in this that tells you, okay, resolution 1, now read this instead. Resolution 2, read that instead. So the story is still the same. That's not a surprise. You know, while you are playing, you might find a surprise location, but the actual beats in the tale here are the same. And I wish that they were different. I wish this story at some point would have taken a left turn and something radically different would have happened along the way. That's not a thing. Dividers. They give you dividers here, but it's only for everything in the base game and this. And when I say everything in the base game, I'm not talking player cards here. I'm just talking about the scenario cards, right? And the different sets, you know. That's nice, but all of this content fits in that empty spot that's left right there. So the rest of these cards that I put in here won't have dividers. I wish this would have been an all or nothing thing. Either don't worry about the dividers and save me a couple of bucks on this product, or then give me enough dividers to maybe take me through the first cycle. And that way, this is a product that I might then recommend to new players. You know, did you just get the base game? Great. Check this out to see how neat this game is at mixing up your expectations, and also you're going to have dividers for your first cycle, your first story arc, you know, outside of the base game. But you don't get that, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with this box and with only a few dividers to everything that's out for the game now, you know. So that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here that I wanted to talk about. That's basically it. So again, good, new locations. Yeah, it mixes up the play a little bit, but there's no new story arc, really. The new player cards are nice, but nothing new. I would have loved to have seen brand new cards, not just slightly souped up cards from the base game. So I'm not sure if I would... it's a hard thing to say who I would recommend this for, but I think, honestly, the person or persons I can most easily recommend this to is someone looking for a storage solution who likes the look of this box, because that's largely what you're paying for, you know. The new cards are neat, and it's quite likely that once you play with this incorporated into Night of the Zealot, you won't want to go back. That makes sense. But I don't know if it justifies the price tag. If you're not excited about the box, I don't think it is, you know. There's too much other content, and it also feels that this came out a little late to the game. You know, there's so much out there that if you're not up to date with all the content in the game, this is probably the last thing you should be buying. You know, if you have everything, you really don't need to watch this review. If you have everything, you're probably going to get it or already have it. But if you don't have everything, I can't think of a product that I would recommend after this product. So that's very telling. That's not to say I don't like this, right? I love this game. So getting more content, changing up the original scenario is so cool because you get to like go back home, right? So I like that, but I wouldn't say that it is something to go out and get. I think at this point you should know if this is something that's for you, really. So this still squeaks into a seal of approval from me, this product. I still would say, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Enjoy it. You know, get it and store your cards in it. It makes for a nice carrying case, maybe. But be aware of what's in the box and don't go into it not clear and then be disappointed. So there you go. That is Night of the Zealot, or Return to the Night of the Zealot. Thanks for checking this out with me, everybody. I'm Z Garcia. I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.